My channel. So today we're going to making a sheep dress. So to start off your pattern, fold your fabric in half. Now I am using my hip as guide plus for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. Now divide your shoulder by 2. Mine is 15 divided by 2 is 7 plus half inch, which is 8. That is what I marked there. Now from there I am going to mark 1 1/4 inch downwards. That is standard. On that line I am going to mark 8.5, which is the same thing I marked for my shoulder to shoulder measurement. That is how you get your armhole. Then I added half to it for joining of my armhole. Now on that line for my armhole, I'm going to mark my bust measurement. I'm going to add 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam. Now mark 3 inches from the edge of your fabric, which is standard. Connect it to the 1 1/4 downwards and slant it to the 3 inches. Now I'm going to use this 3 inches for my neckline. I mark 3.5 inches downwards. That is going to be my neckline. I am making a round neck. Now I'm just connecting my lines. Now I am taking 17 inches, which is standard for my waist measurement. On that line, I am going to mark my waist divided by 4, same as the bust, plus my 2 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam, and I connect to my bust. Now I am just taking where I want my gown to stop. Now on your waistline, mark 9 inches for your hip. It is standard for making women clothes. Now divide your hip by 4, mark what you get, just as you did for your bust, waist. Now you're doing same for your hip. I add 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam. Now I am marking what I got as my hip measurement down at my total length, 2 inches for ease. Now just connect the lines. Now back to the armhole. Find the midpoint of your armhole, divide it by 2 and mark about half inches on the inside. Now just connect your armhole. From the bust, connect it to the line and back. Now I am just cutting my pattern out. Now fold your lining in half and place your fabric and cut all around it. Now for the back, I've gone on and cut out my hip, my bust, and my total length and everything, just like I did for the back. Now I am going to divide my armhole in half and I mark, and I'm going to connect that just like I'm doing, connect from the bust to the marked line. Now for the neckline, remember it was 3 inches. Now I am marking 1 inch downwards from the 3 inches. That is 3 inches for width and 1 inch for length. Now I just going to cut that out. Now I very much made my pattern same way I made the front. I just marked the hip, marked the bust, marked the waist, everything divided by 4, and the only difference is the armhole and the neckline. That is all. Now for the back, I also placed my lining and I cut that out just like that all around it. Now for my sleeve, I fold my fabric in half, measure your length and also measure the circumference of where you want your sleeve to stop, and I mark 9 inches plus 1 inch for seam. I mark 5 inches downwards, and I'm going to take same 9 inches and 1 inch for seam at the 5 inches. Now I'm going to make a slanted S shape upwards to the 9 inch I marked upwards, and I'm just marking the where I want my sleeve to stop and the circumference, and I connect the lines. Now cut out time. Now you're going to cut another of this for your other sleeve and also for your lining. Now I am just placing my tape rule and I am marking 7 inches. I'm trying to cut out the pockets and I am making a straight line and place my hand right there and trace my arm all around it just to get the shape I want, and I'm going to cut that right out. Now your pockets are going to be about 4. You are going to have 2 at the right, 2 at the left. Now this is 2 piece. I'm going to go on and cut another 2 piece. So to start your sewing, place your lining over your fabric, and I'm just trying to pin that in place and just sew at the very edge of your fabric just to join the lining and the fabric together, and do same at the other side. Now for your neckline, stitch by 1/2 inch from one neckline to the other side. Once you're done stitching, make little notches all around your neckline just like I am doing. Once you're done doing that, place the notches on your lining and stitch very close to the stitch you made, and make sure you open up your lining while you stitch so it doesn't get rumpled underneath. Once you're done, you should be looking this nice, flat and neat, and you won't get your lining coming up. So now I fold my lining in half, getting the center point, and I mark 6 inches downwards and from my neckline, just like that, 6 inches from my neckline. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lay it flat, that way I can get where the center is, and from there I'm going to connect a straight line upwards straight to my neckline. Now I am going to lay that over my fabric, and I would use my chalk and mark out how I want my stitch to go. It's going to be like a V kind of thing going on just right there at the neckline. So I'm going to sew all the way on the lining. So once you're done, this is the stitch. It's like a V up to the bottom and curve up again. Now I am just cutting straight into that line I marked earlier on, and just line it over so you all can see. Notch really close to the curved part and notch just close by, and notch again just close by. That way when you turn it over, you should have this nice looking thing at the front. So now moving on, we're going to join our lining very close to the edge and also very close to the edge. Now next thing you need to do is stitch the neckline by 1/2 inch and notch. Make your little notches just very close to the stitch and open it up just like you did for the back, and turn the notched part on the lining and stitch and stop right there at that part. And once you're done, it should be looking this neat. So moving on, we're going to join the shoulders together. Open it up like this and open the front up like that and match the necklines together just like that. And I'm going to pin. You're joining the back fabric to the front fabric. You're joining the shoulders together and you're joining the back lining to the front lining, the good sides. You're joining them all together and you're going to sew by 1/2 inch. Just like that, from the lining to the fabric, 1/2 inch. And you're going to do the same to the other side of your shoulder. Open up the back shoulder and open up the front shoulder, pin and sew by 1/2 inch. So now I am marking 20 inches from my shoulder and 7 inches down to my hip side. I am trying to get where my pocket is going to be. Know that your pocket comes from your hip. It stays at your hip side. Now I am just pinning my pocket in place just like that, and I am trying to get where my other side, that is for the back, my other pocket is going to be. Once I get that, I pin in place. Now next thing you're going to do is sew your pocket on top of your fabric right there and turn it over and sew. You're going to do the same, sew and turn over and top stitch. Do the same to the other sides. Now once you're done doing that, sew from the top like that and top stitch, lock your stitch and sew from the pocket and go back, lock your stitch and sew straight down. Note you're sewing your 1 inch for your seam and you're going to do the same to the other side also. Now on your sleeve, go on and fold your seam over and sew. Now fold your sleeve in half and notch the center. Place that part on your shoulder lining and start pinning all around your armhole. Now once you're done, go on and stitch that by 1/2 inch all around. Once you're done stitching, start placing your lining at the rough edge of your sleeve. Start pinning and pin all around it. Now you go and sew all around it. Note you're sewing on the rough edge. You're not sewing on your fabric. You're only sewing on the rough edge. That way when you turn your lining over, you have your dress looking neat on the inside. Now go on and join your sleeve seam together and you're done. You can also go on and fold in the rough edges and sew just like this. That way your dress is looking finished on the inside and looking neater. Now I have marked my hem and I am folding half and then I fold another half. On that line I would pin all around. open up your inseams and fold in half and fold in another half and pin, and I am going to pin all around it. Once you're done, I will be using hand sewing for this particular dress. That is what my client wants, and I am just picking strand of my fabric and my lining and then back to the folded part of my dress. I pick strand of my fabric again and lining and my folded hem. I keep going like that. That way you can't see stitches on the good side of my fabric. Once you're done, you should get this finished look, and please subscribe and like. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in my next video.